Jason won that match against Shane, and Shane's the king, and he went up and stood in his chair. You don't stand in the king's chair.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cue It Up podcast. Today, I am going to be joined by the Isolation Pool Tournaments guru and founder, Ryan. Ryan, how's it going?
Hey, Nate, doing well, man. Another day in paradise, as you say, and working away.
Yeah, this is the weird 2020, whatever you want to call it, paradise. It's a wild one, isn't it?
Oh, it's been nuts. I tell you, it's what a year. You know, I never thought in our lifetime that we'd see what we've seen in the last few months, and it's just it's something else. It's just brutal. I've got my oldest son graduated from high school this year, and I just sit and think about, geez, all the things that he missed that are memories I'll never forget. Your senior prom, your parents' senior party, your graduation, and all that. It's just I feel bad for a lot of the kids out there, but businesses. It's just the list goes on and on. That's been affected by this pandemic that we got rolling right now. But I guess one and only good thing that's come of it is isolation pool. Something new that's I don't know if it's a good thing yet or not. It's stressful, but it's coming together, and it's nothing that I thought ever that would turn into what it's become. Just the idea with me and a couple buddies thinking, hey, let's throw a tournament together. We can PayPal an entry fee, live stream our match, and we'll do a little payout. And we're thinking, 8-10 players will be good.
Yeah,
and
so
they're all good.
Yeah, so that's you're kind of getting into the insights of how it actually happened. The idea for it. So that's actually question number one. Is why don't you take us through the process that you went through to get this actually underway? Yeah,
it was it came about exactly 1 week after Minnesota decided to put everybody into isolation and lockdown mode, if you will, and I was sitting in my basement hitting some balls, and I was kind of bummed out. I'm just like, God, you can. It's Wednesday night. I should be at Shooters Billiards in Burnsville playing the 9-ball tournament and having fun with my friends and enjoying, what we all love to do. And it was really just a bummer. And so I started thinking, I thought, God, maybe we could do something here. I know enough people that have pool tables in their homes and put something together. And so I started brainstorming it, and my girlfriend Maggie came up with the idea or the name Isolation, and we just started kind of just snowballing and rolling with some different ideas that we had, and the next day I saw a post on Facebook from a friend of mine, Jason Sapir, and he said, hey, anybody, maybe we could play some matches online, stream on Facebook, and I messaged him back right away, and I said, hey, man, I got this idea. Let me run it by you. So I talked with him, and he said, man, I like it. Let's roll with it. And, we just, on a whim, I created this Facebook page, this group page on a Friday morning is when I launched it. Thinking, again, 8-10 buddies of mine that could hop on this deal and have some fun with it. And by the end of the day on Friday, this thing had spread throughout the state of Minnesota. I was just going, what the hell am I got myself into here? But I thought it was pretty cool. I'm like, well, shoot, I guess the more the merrier, we can do this. And I woke up Saturday morning and the thing had spread throughout the United States. And I just went, uh-oh. I got players from California, Texas, Alabama, New York, all over the place. And I'm going, well, this is interesting. I'm not quite sure yet what to think about it or what I've got myself into. But I rolled with it. And then I woke up on Sunday, day 3, and the thing had gone global. I got players from other countries, China, Russia. I mean, I'm going, uh-oh. And so at that point, I'm going, okay, well, it's more than I can handle running off Facebook. So it's a decision to either, I either got to pull the plug, delete this thing and pretend it never existed, or roll the dice and see if we can make something of it. And I was lucky enough to have, our pool community. We're all really a great bunch of guys and a family, if you will. And I had a lot of help from Jason Sapir and Mo Bastier and Josh Reel's another one that's been a lot of help. And he was just one of our first guys to hop on and play isolation. But they really helped out a lot getting this thing started with creating events and trying to help manage the scores and everything that's coming in and simplify things. And I really couldn't have done it without those guys, being there to help and manage this thing getting started. And now I got my kids going to work for me and they're I keep them busy. I keep my oldest one probably, he's but I would say 5-6 hours a day, just tracking payments and entering scores and keeping things neat and in line. And but it's been fun. It's been good. And so again, at that point where I just decided we got to either move forward or pull the plug, because running things off Facebook is just an absolute nightmare. So we shook the dice and making a just north of a $70,000 investment into a pretty cool web app that's 2 weeks away from having a site that's going to launch and usable, and it's going to really simplify things. So we're really excited for that. The idea behind isolation, I guess nobody really thought of it because we never had to. We were never in a position where we needed to think about that. If you wanted to play a pool tournament, you just went and played the pool tournament. Then all of a sudden this thing, and it's just, it's just a different world. You can play a pool tournament anywhere, anytime, as long as all you need is a pool table and a smartphone, and you're in business. So it's been fun to watch it grow, but it's been fun to watch the different, initially with isolation, the early first couple months with everything being in lockdown and seeing all the different, man caves and different setups that people have in their homes was really neat to watch and see. And it was fun to watch. I saw a lot of friendships grow throughout, what we started. I think we're up over 4,000 members currently in the group, and I haven't promoted it or pushed it. I've just because I really couldn't handle anymore without the help that the web app is going to provide me. Which that's the finish line is close, so we're ready to start spreading the word and promoting it, spreading it, and growing it. So it's. I don't think it's going anywhere. Initially when we started this, I thought it'd be something to be fill the time until the pool rooms open back up, and then as it grew and the amount of people that reaching out to me, just going, hey, this isn't going anywhere. This is you're onto something. This is going to stick because it's a pretty neat deal. I was talking to Billy Thorpe, we were chatting, and he just said, man, this is nuts. When you think about this on a global level, you could run a $30 entry fee 10-ball tournament and potentially wind up with a prize pot larger than the U.S. Open pays. And the guy that wins it could do it in 45 minutes in the basement of his house in his pajamas. And I said, yeah, you're right. That's potentially what this could turn into when you start thinking about it on a global level. There's a lot of pool players out there. And now that the pool rooms are opening up, we're expecting to see a large increase in participants, simply because prior to it, the only people that could participate are those that had a pool table in their home. And I don't know what that percentage is, but I'm going to guess probably about 10% of the pool players out there actually have a table in their home, leaving a big number of pool players that haven't. And now that the pool rooms are opening up, they're going to be able to get out, rent that table, stream live right from the pool room, which is what we're really encouraging, to get out and support your local pool rooms. And it's been fun just this far, just working with the local rooms here in the Minneapolis area, that they're all just open arms, saying, man, anybody that comes in with to stream an isolation match, we're going to give them half price table time. If they're a league player and they want to stick around after league and play an isolation event, they're going to give them free table time. And so it's been really neat and fun to watch it grow, so I'm hopeful that it continues to grow and we start seeing some of those big numbers and some big prize pots.
Yeah, for sure. So now that we're kind of out of, for the most part, the lockdown, what do you think the direction of this is going to be? Because as a tournament director myself, for every now and then, I guess I'm running a tournament this weekend and I'm running another one later on this month. Do you think that this is going to eventually completely replace the standard Saturday pool tournament or the weekly Wednesday night tournament like you were talking about? Or what are your goals for that? Or are you trying to have it as kind of, complementing each other?
Yeah, it's completely different than the tournaments you're talking about. Now, those tournaments, that's a social, it's a different, it's apples and oranges. They're not even in the same category as far as I'm concerned. I'm going out tonight, Wednesday night. I'll be at Shooters for their Wednesday night 9-ball tournament, simply because I like having an opponent right there next to me that I'm playing against. I like the social aspect. I like to see my friends and hang out and have a good time. But what isolation brings is just a different tournament. Now, when you think about, I guess for me personally, I can go down in my basement with the desire to practice and practice hitting balls and practice some shots, practice pool. And after about 30 minutes, I'm done. After about 30 minutes, I'm no longer, my focus isn't there. I'm just kind of start banging balls. I'm not really doing myself any good. And I lose interest. I found with isolation, you can log in, join a tournament, play a tournament, and you do not lose that focus. You're dialed in, you're focused, you stay focused because you paid a $20 entry fee. You want to win. So it's a different pressure. It's a different, the whole thing is just completely different. But what I liked about it is the guy that goes to Shooters tonight to play the Wednesday night 9-ball tournament. And he's lucky enough for Mama to give him his pass for the night, go out and have fun. And you go up there and you get a bad draw and you go 2 and out and you're going, great, now what? Well, you can hop on isolation. Click a tournament, there's a live one, hop on, join, play it, and win. We've paid out over $50,000 in prize money in the last 3 months. It's just incredible. I've got guys out there that, there's a lot of people that have tried putting things together where people can make a living playing pool. It's seldom worked, and there's not a lot of things that have worked. This might work. I've got players out there that are, they're close to it. They're winning a lot of money. They're winning a lot of tournaments, but they put the time in. They practice and they're rewarded for it. This is something that you can play anytime, anywhere. our tournaments, when we start them, they'll run for, typically 5 to 7 days is what I try to do. So you've got 5 to 7 days to stream your match, play your games, upload them, and report your score. I think it's something it's just a different angle of pool it's going to stick around. I don't think it'll certainly never replace what's already there with those tournaments. But if it gives a player an option to look at when they're done, it's a win in my eyes. And that's really what my goal is just to keep it growing and give the players just another option to be competitive and play competitive and improve their game.
For sure. So I have not actually been able to play in any of these because I do not have a table at home during the lockdown. So if somebody has never heard of isolation pool tournaments or just wanted more information on them, why don't you take us through the process of what it would take to actually play in one of these events?
Yeah, it's kind of discombobulated right now just because everything's running off Facebook. But the Facebook group page is Isolation Pool Tournaments. Join the group. From there, you're going to see, right now there's just tens of thousands of videos of past players, and all the matches are all there on Facebook. But on the Facebook group page, there's going to be a tab that says events. And you click on events. At any time, I try to keep about 4, 5, or 6 events going live at all times, because we want a variety of tournaments there to try to, have something for everybody, whether it's, a handicapped event, an open event. Sometimes we do events that are, rated by Fargo rate, just $4.99 and under tournaments. We'll do some just we try to have something out there for everybody that they can get in there and have a good chance and compete and do well, and not just donate. That's really the goal. Is we want to have something for everybody. And when you're thinking of this on a global scale, you should be able to. We should be able to get some big numbers as it continues to grow. So you click on events. There's going to be 4, 5, 6 different events to choose from. Once you've determined what you're interested in playing, you simply click on it, and it's going to give you a good description of what game's being played. The games that we're doing, everything is potentially, I guess, against the ghost, but you're scoring points. So they're ghost games, but you score points. One that's been real popular here lately is a game I call it Crazy 8 Ball. People have had a lot of fun with that, and it's a game I enjoy. But it's you break, depending on whether it's handicapped or not. Sometimes we do these where we recently did one that was handicapped, where pros, I think it was 750 and north, Fargo rate players, they got no handicap. They got no ball in hand. They break. It's an open table, and they go to work. You pick solids or stripes. Table's always open. You go to work. And then there was a tier from like 724 to 650 where they get one ball in hand, and it's mandatory. It must be used immediately following the break. And then the next tier was that group of players gets one ball in hand, but they can use it any time during their run. And then the next tier gives a player 2 ball in hands. And people are going, what, 2 ball in hands? Yeah, 2 ball in hands. So you break. Mandatory, you do have to use your first ball in hand following the break. Start your run. Table's always open. You pick solids or stripes. You score 1 point for each legally pocketed ball that you make. The 8 ball's worth 3, so it's kind of standard VNEA Valley. BCA, it's 10 points on a win if you make the 8 ball. And then the crazy part of things, where I call it Crazy 8 Ball, is bonus points. So once you pocket the 8 ball, you can earn bonus points for that game by running the suit left on the table in numerical order from lowest to highest number. So it's been fun. You got to play now. You're just not shooting an 8-ball in, but now you got to shoot an 8-ball in and play position for the 1 or possibly the 9-ball and start your run out for bonus points. That's been a lot of fun. It's really neat to see how the numbers all come in as well. When I first started thinking about doing this type of tournament, I had some different players that have been playing isolation that are established Fargo rate players that I know personally, and I know that they're real accurate. And so I had them all do these, and I said, hey, I'm going to have you do 10 games of this format. But you get no ball in hand. This is what you got to do. And I had some do it with 1, I had some do it with 2, and I had some do it with 3. And in the end, the scores came in, and they were all right there, which is just ideal. That's what we wanted is the guy that's, a 450 to be able to compete with somebody that's a 750. And the numbers are all right there, which is neat. Obviously, a lot of times when it comes down to that 9th or 10th game, your stronger players typically seem to hold things together a little better. But that's something that the lesser speed players are going to continue to get better at, and it's been fun to watch that as well. So it's joining the event. Once you determine the game you want to play, there's a PayPal. You can pay Venmo. There's an entry fee, and that's all detailed in the event description. You pay your entry fee, and when you're ready to play the tournament, you go back to that particular event, and you go to where you would just normally post a comment or whatever, and there's a spot there that says go live, and that's one of the requirements is you do have to stream your match live on Facebook for the whole world to see, which does add an element of pressure that's like none other. I mean, it's nuts. The second you hit that go live button, the temperature in the room goes up 20 degrees. And it's just a different pressure that I've never felt. I would rather shoot a shot on the center table of Moscone Cup with 1,000 fans in the stands, and I would feel more comfortable than I do with that darn camera on me. But again, it's something that I think's improved my game just in the few months we've been doing it, because it's certainly helped. Players. So when they go live, they stream their match. They keep a score sheet as to how they're doing throughout the match, and when they're done, they upload the video. And then there's a spot in the event that says score report and player sign up. They go back there and they enter in their score that they got, or they submit a photo of their score sheet, and they're done. It's as simple as that. We do offer buybacks in a lot of our events as well. That gives players an opportunity to replay their match because we all know playing the ghost. I mean, it doesn't take much. I've had several 9 or 10 ball rotation games where I've broken, and even with ball in hand, had no shot on the 1. I mean, absolutely none. You're just locked. You got nothing. And, that can happen. So for most of our events, you can buy back if you have some bad luck for $10 and replay the event. It certainly adds some more money to the prize pot, and it gives players a second chance, if you will, to improve their score and do a little better. So it's been fun to watch. So, a lot of players right now, like I said, it's hard to follow with Facebook. You really don't know what the prize pot is, because unless you went in there and started counting how many players are playing the event, figured out what the entry fee is, it's kind of an unknown until it's all over. And I post and say, hey, we had 16 players. Entry fee was this. Here's our prize payout. Here's our winners. We're paying top 25% of the field. Congratulations, good job, and here's your money. And I just PayPal it right back to them, or Venmo, or however they paid. We do put a 24-hour hold on the payouts once I post it, just for players to take a look and make sure that we didn't make an error, because we're all human, and certainly we make some errors. Sometimes some players make errors themselves, and they post scores in the wrong section, and we didn't see it. So we went 24 hours for just to make sure that there wasn't any mistakes, or if any matches that were played get flagged or need to be contested and reviewed. That gives us time to do that as well, which is it's happened a time or two, and that's funny because a lot of people ask, well, shit, how do you police this? You can't watch all these thousands of matches. And I said, I don't watch any of them, to tell you the truth, unless I have to, because I'm just too busy. I can't. I wish I could. But the players police it, and they've done a fantastic job. And when I say the players police it, Nate, if you were to get up and play in an isolation tournament event and you post a monster score and you feel really good about it, and you got 2 more days before this event ends, and all of a sudden you wake up the next day and you look and hear somebody's posted a score a little higher than yours, guess who's watching that guy's match? You are. And you're watching every shot. And if you see a foul or something that's not right, the first person you notify is me, and then I take a look, and then I watch it and make the call whether or not something was good or not, and if something needs to be changed or adjusted, and we go from there. So yeah, it's been fun. And but for the most part, we've had the players have all been great. We really haven't seen any cheating, just here or there, which there's always going to be a couple bad eggs, and we're quick to eliminate them, and just they don't need to be part of the group. Right? We try not to. We don't want any of that going on, and so thus far, hats off to the 4,000 members that we do have. You guys have been great, and it's everybody's just been fantastic. If anything, they're over honest, I guess, which is awesome. We love it, and that's what keeps the game good and keeps things doing well.
You had already mentioned earlier that you are basically forming a website. What does the future of isolation pool tournaments look like then?
Well, that's going to simplify things, and it's going to make things a lot easier for the players as well as me. I can't wait for it. It's going to take and free me up immensely with the amount of just little work, busy work that keeps us busy. So yeah, it's going to be a neat deal. It's isolationsports.com is what the name of the web app is. It can be used on a PC or a smartphone, Android or iPhone as well. It's very user friendly. It's as simple as logging in. It's going to and that was my goal, is to have it user friendly. I didn't want it a mess or hard to follow. And so you're going to have an about tab that's going to tell you a little bit about isolation pool, what we are, what we're doing. There will be some rules, different games that we play that you can read on. And then I guess the main one's going to be the events tab. And you're going to click on that, live events. There will be live events, past events. And so you click on live events. And here's the neat thing about this with the website is it's going to be a live scoring. So it's going to show you what the current payout is. It's going to show you what the current score is, a leaderboard. And it's going to be pretty neat. So when I create a tournament, if it's just our weekly 10-ball tournament, when I create that tournament, the payout is zero. There is no payout because nobody's paid an entry fee and nobody's signed up. But the first person that signs up and pays the $24 entry fee, the prize pot's $24. Next person that joins in, prize pot doubles, and then it doubles, and then it just keeps growing. As it grows and players play, it's gonna, and they report their scores. It's gonna show a current standings, what place they're in, what that particular payout is at that moment, and that's gonna obviously change and grow as the more and more players enter the tournament. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be real simple when they get in there. It's just pay, enter event. They click a button. It's going to direct them right to their PayPal or Venmo, and they pay for it, and they're now entered into the tournament. When they're ready to stream their match, there will be a button in there that just says stream match. You click that. It's going to open your phone automatically up to Facebook Live. That's going to live stream the match to our group page. As of now, we're still going to have all the matches will still be streamed live to the Facebook group page, because that's what's grown it to 4,000 players, and where we get all those views and stuff is on Facebook. So we don't want to lose that, but it'll have the player there. And when player's done with their match and they hit end live video, it's going to prompt them to enter a score, or they enter their score, submit, and they're done. It's really just going to be a slick format, easy platform, user friendly. That's what we wanted, and I think it's going to be pretty neat to see some of those prize pots grow, and we'll start seeing some bigger numbers show up. And I think part of it too is I've seen with isolation the way it's run right now, without having that live standings, not knowing where you're at or kind of where you might stand. I see a lot of people forfeit matches that they would have moneyed in, but they just don't realize it. They think, well, shit, just because they know what the first place score is, and when they get close and then they dog that one shot, and they know now mathematically they're out of it, and they just quit. They forfeit. They just shut it out. And I'm going, well, shit, there's still second place, third place, fourth place. There's money on the table that you're just letting the next guy have. So I think that'll eliminate that. We'll start seeing some more and more people participate when they start seeing the size of some of these prize pots, where we've had some $600, $700, $800, $900 payouts. That's some pretty good money for a tournament that you can play in an hour in your basement in your pajamas.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds pretty good. And I know with chatting with you before we started, you are getting some pretty big names involved as well as an ambassador. Why don't you talk a little about that?
Yeah, we've had, I guess a couple right now. Right now, we just recently signed Fedor Gorst. Fedor is, I got nothing but just great things to say about him. This kid is one of the most polite players I've ever met. I mean, he's young. He just turned 20 years old 2 weeks ago, so he's no longer a teenager. So we shouldn't call him a kid anymore. But he's just a really just a great guy. And Fedor is currently the world champion pool player. He's rated number 4 in the world, right behind SBB, who I stayed with Shane last week. I was down at his house for 3 days in Falls and played some golf with him and talked a bit. And he said he's Fedor's the real deal. He says I don't know. He says I'll be honest, I'm afraid of him. The kid's got it, and he puts the time in. He works hard, and so Fedor's been. He's been playing a lot of our events, any that he can. He participates in. He's there. He's vocal with the other members in the group, and it's really neat to see. And Fedor is just he's put some monster scores together. It's been fun to watch him play. The kid is just amazing. So we brought Fedor on. We're excited about that. He is essentially the face of Isolation Pool. He's going to help us grow it and continue to grow it and be part of what we're doing. And we're looking at, bringing in a pro level event, some higher entries and some sponsorship to events. That these are all things that we're going to be seeing once the web app is out and live, where we'll be able to have some sponsors and recognize them and add some money to these tournaments and continue to see it grow. I'd love to get Shane on board, but Shane's not playing any pool right now, so he's refusing to do it. I almost had him. We were golfing, and I made a bet with him that if I won, he had to play an isolation event that night, and he got lucky. He got lucky. He got lucky, and he knew he got lucky.
If you could put a pool
fun.
table in the middle of a lake or on a golf course, you got a chance of him hitting a ball or two.
Exactly. I mean, it was just, he's just, but, he's taking some time off, which I guess, when you think about it, when pool's your job, if you will, then you get a break from it. It's the first break he's really had ever. He's never had a break. The guy's been on the road for the last 15 years, and he's lucky if he's home 3 weeks out of the year. The rest of the time he's traveling. He's out there, and it's work. So he's enjoying some golf and a lot of fishing right now, which is good for him. But I think we'll see SVB in here soon as he's ready to rock and roll again. But so Fedor is part of the company now. We brought him on board and excited to have him on board. The guy is just he's just really a good person. We had some players that were a little nervous about Fedor joining our Bolliards League that we started. We had over 100 players in, and just with the numbers that he puts up, and so I had to consider their points as valid points, and I reached out to Fedor and I said, "Hey, buddy," I said, we got to figure this out, but I just can't risk having you run over everybody every week and upset 100 pool players that are paying weekly league fees, and so he flat out said to me, Nate, he said, "Ryan, whatever you got to do, you do it." He says, if you don't want me to play the league, I won't keep my entry fee that I paid for the year, but I'll step down. He says, if you want to handicap me so I have absolutely no chance of contending or winning, I'll still play it and support it, because if you hadn't created Isolation Pool, he says, I don't know that our family would have a home anymore. He said, I honestly owe you a lot. What you've created has kept food on our table and a roof over our heads. So, and I just thought, wow, this unbelievable. This kid is, just what an outstanding kid. And that was an eye opener for me that, this is somebody that I want to be part of what our end goal is. And that's to have a successful company and something that's going to stick around and be part of a pool. And, Fedor was willing to come in and say, "Hey, I'll be part of this, even though it's not worth anything. You don't need to give me anything, but knowing what it potentially can be, I'm willing to work for it." And I just thought, you know what, that's the guy that I want on my team. He's not standing there with his hand out going, "What are you going to give me now?" He's willing to work it and do what he can to make it worth something. And that says a lot about that kid right there. And then obviously you can just watch his game and the amount of time he puts in. He's going to continue to grow. I think we're going to see Fedor pushing that number one spot here in the next year for sure. And he says all the time, "You Americans don't practice." And he's right. He's right. We don't, in comparison to the time he puts in. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he is a practice warrior for sure. I love watching. I love getting to watch him play. He's so smooth and so he's just insanely talented. Not even trying to take away the hard work that he puts into it.
It's smooth. It's just nuts. I just watch him and I'm jealous. I'm like, how is he just? I mean, he's got a good poker face, right? You see no change in emotion from shot to shot, make or miss. It's just routine, and you see that in some of the better players, and even I'll bring up Rob Matson. He's another one. Tim Tunjum. These guys just monster scores together, and but they're players that they're consistent. They got good strokes. They've done this. They put the time in, and now it shows, and it shows in their results. They're scoring well and they're winning money. Tim put up a run in Isolation that was, I want to say it was north of 30 consecutive break and runs in 8 ball. Consecutive. That's nuts. I mean, that's just insane. An insane number. He had a perfect score. Fun to watch. I mean, these guys, they don't sweat. They just keep calm, and they're used to it. They're used to the pressure. They don't let it bother them, and they just play their game, and it's fun to watch.
You had hinted that the new app is going to be out in about 2 weeks. Why don't you give the dates for the website and the app one more time, and where anybody else can find information on this when it becomes available?
Yeah, so it's going to be isolationsports.com. It's going to be a couple weeks yet. What we're initially launching is going to be a smaller venue than what it's going to eventually become, but it's going to be a usable site that's going to just make things a lot easier. So we're hopeful. 2 weeks. I've got a meeting with the web company here in an hour that they said they've made some big strides in the last week. So excited for that, and I'll keep everybody posted on the web or Facebook group page as well. But in the meantime, that's where you got to go to play. It's hop on Facebook, and it's Isolation Pool Tournaments. And if anybody has questions, message me, reach out to me. I'm if I'm awake, or if I left my ringer on and I wake up at 3 a.m, which happens often, I'll answer. That's been the funny part about it is it never shuts off, because when we when we're going to bed here, it's they're just waking up in Australia, and so it never ends. If they're from New Zealand or one of those countries, I'm getting messages at 3-4 in the morning. Well, because it's middle of the day for them. So it's been fun, but it's been a battle and fun to watch it grow though. And I'm excited for the growth to continue and give players something new that they can do and participate in and be part of and watch their game get better. And that's another thing that's been fun to watch as well. I had a player that made a comment here not too long ago that just said, "Man, I'm done with this." He just commented and said, "I'm done. I'm done. No more. I'm not playing this shit anymore." and I thought, well, that's too bad, and sorry to see that. And well, another player, not even me, just somebody else in the group. And this is the neat thing about our group that we've got, the group of players that we have. One particular individual went in and he searched his name and he started going back and watching his other matches and scores that he'd reported. And then he chimed in and he commented and said, "Hey man, just look at this though. In the last 2 months, your average in 9-ball ghost games, you started out averaging 4 per game. You went to 5. You're at 7. Shit. Your average has gone up 3 points just from playing isolation pool. You might not win everyone, but you're doing something per game." And then each time I get, "Wow, I didn't realize that. I am getting better." Well, you're getting better because you're practicing, you're putting time in. And like I said earlier, it gives you something to focus on versus just banging balls and you lose focus and you don't have it anymore. And it's just something new that the players can do. I was up with Jimmy Wetch at his pool room last week, talking to him and explaining to him what isolation was. And he was going, "You kidding me? It's for real?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, this is the real deal." And he said, "So you're telling me my 2 locals over here that come in, my 2 regulars that are coming every single day and they practice and bang balls around, these 2 guys right here can hop on a tournament right now, pay an entry fee, play a pool tournament, and potentially win money?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Right now." I said, "Right here, right now." And he says, "Well, what about me?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Hop on." And so Jimmy says, "Huh." He says, I might have to start playing again." And he messaged me last week. He's asking what I thought his Fargo rate should be. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm not sure. I've had, I should put a poll out there. Actually, maybe I'll do that. A Facebook poll. What's Jimmy Wetch's Fargo rate, so we can place him correct spot, because I know if I put him too low, I'll catch hell. The guy can play pool, and I'd love to see Jimmy get back in there and dust off his cues and play again. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited to see the numbers grow, and it's fun now to see the different pool rooms and people streaming from the pool rooms. We got some rooms that are actually bringing in devices and tripods and stuff that you can use for streaming your events. So it's growing. We love it, and keep the pool community going in the right direction. It's a win for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think that gives a pretty good wrap up for the isolation pool tournaments. I will thank you one more time for joining me today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, and look forward to seeing the numbers grow and meeting new people out there.
Yeah, maybe I'll even find a little bit of time and swing over and try one of those out myself.
You're always welcome, man.
All right. Well, take care. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to contribute to the future content that will be made, consider joining the podcast's Patreon at www.patreon.com/QItUp. Becoming a Patreon of the podcast will help to create all of the future content that the podcast will have. Special shout out to Dave Peters, Aaron Taylor, Pete Silsby, Morgan Lupton, Ben Young, Robert Miller, Andy Morse, and Bill Pelham for your generous contributions to the podcast's Patreon. If you ever need any more information on what the Patreon system is, or how you can contribute outside of the Patreon, please reach out to the podcast or Neight himself. If you would like to contribute to the podcast for free, consider sharing any podcasts or the podcast page on Facebook itself. Also, leaving a review and a rating if you listen through iTunes. It helps others find the podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with another episode of the Q It Up podcast.